Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about Palantir Technologies PLTR stock, and we're going to be going over their latest news updates as well as their price targets. Recently, Palantir Technologies announced when their second quarter 2022 earnings report will be released. Then we're going to move on and talk about some Palantir stock news regarding how investors are trying to play Palantir Technologies despite the fear of a recession coming up, because right now we are in a very volatile stock market and economy. Then lastly, we're going to talk about another big data company named Salesforce and how Palantir compares to Salesforce and which one I personally like more as a long-term growth company. So for more videos like this one, remember to go and smash that like button right now, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe if you are new, and without further ado, let's just jump right into today's stories. So Palantir Technologies, if you didn't know, is a big data and analytics company that serves both commercial clients as well as government enterprises, and right now their PLTR stock trades for around $9.30, which is actually a substantial increase from the last time that we talked about Palantir Technologies. Investors on the very negative side think that the company will be worth around $6 by year's end. However, more bullish positive investors think that the company could surge all the way up to $16 per share in the next 12 months. However, I do want to say that according to the price to sales ratio, the company is trading at a slight premium depending on how long you want to hold this company, but we will talk more about the price targets and the price predictions later in this video and how long it will take to achieve those. Right now, I want to focus on how Palantir Technologies will be releasing their second quarter financial results, which ended on June 30th of 2022 by having an earnings report meeting on August 8th of 2022 at 6 a.m. Mountain Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Time before the market opens on Monday, August 8th. If you want more information or you want to watch this live, you can always click the link I have in the description under sources, because I always source the articles that I use in the description box. You can click on this hyperlink over here and that will take you to a live webcast when that earnings report is actually being done. And then if you want to submit a question or vote on questions, you can visit this hyperlink down here in blue, which will also be linked in the description box down below. Just go to this Yahoo Finance article and then click these hyperlinks if you want more information on that. But with that out of the way, I do think that their quarter two report is going to be slightly underwhelming, so I don't have anything really to say about it right now. I'm going to have to wait for it to come out, but before it comes out, I will have a prediction video of the projections that they're supposed to bring in for their quarter two results. So hopefully that's going to be somewhat positive, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because of some things that I know about the company, which we will talk about in another video. Many investors have been attracted to Palantir's PLTR stock because the government absolutely loves this company and they are considered a very attractive company to buy right now in some investors' eyes, which is one of the reasons why initially when the company DPO'd on the public stock market, investors swarmed to the company and it made it soar to around $35 per share in January of 2021. However, since then we have seen a gigantic downtrend in the stock price, and right now the stock price is still currently trading at a premium if we use the metric of their price to sales ratio. But many very positive investors were not expecting the PLTR stock to fall so low. For some reason, some investors just think that stocks only go up and they never fall back down for a couple years before rebounding. And I don't know where they get that ideology from, but that is not realistic at all. Even some of the best stocks have a correction and trade at a lower valuation for a bit before the market catches on to the true value of the company. This can sometimes take weeks, months, or even years. But despite this, the author of this article still thinks that Palantir Technologies has massive potential due to their government contracts and their commercial contracts, which is why the author of this article, as well as myself, think that Palantir is a pretty good long-term stock to hold. And when we say long-term, I'm referring to a 5 to 10 year hold. So if you are more of a trader and you sell stocks on the daily or even weekly, or you swing trade, this company is probably not going to be for you. This is for long-term growth investors such as this myself. Now, I think Palantir has actually been doing pretty good lately, considering that they have landed around 3 major contracts as of late. For instance, we talked about how Palantir landed a $36 million Army contract under the TITIAN program. They signed a strategic agreement with Guidehouse, who is the 3rd largest consultant for the federal government, and that specific alliance is going to highly benefit Palantir as well as Guidehouse. And then we also have the U.S Space Command contract that is worth around $121.5 million, which is absolutely phenomenal. And these awards are just scratching the surface of what Palantir Technologies is set to achieve over the next couple of years. However, skeptics still criticized how Palantir Technologies seems to be too heavily reliant on their government contracts. However, I made a video over a year ago saying that Palantir Technologies is actually going to specialize in their commercial segment, to where their commercial segment will be bringing in more revenue than their government contracts. And although this has not happened yet, we have seen my predictions come through to be true multiple times, because right now, currently on the current trajectory of the revenue growth, their commercial segment is set to become their main revenue driver. So I can't wait for that prediction to actually 100% come true. Now, the reason why the PLTR stock is trading very low right now is because growth stocks, technology stocks, and stocks that were overvalued at one point have drastically corrected in the overall stock market, and Palantir Technologies fits into all 3 of those categories. That's one of the reasons why investors weren't really that happy after their Q1 results, which I didn't think was actually that bad, because they reported around a 31% year-over-year increase in their revenue, which came in at around $446 million for that particular quarter. And this is directly in line with what management currently projects that Palantir will bring in from now until 2025. I also want to point out that they added around 37 customers in that particular quarter, which was phenomenal news, yet investors still decided to liquidate due to the recessionary environment that we could be finding ourselves here in soon. I also pointed out in that Q1 report that the company's revenues for their commercial clients is rising consistently, and it has even surpassed the rate that they are growing their government revenue at, because their government revenue was around a 16% increase, while their commercial revenue growth rate was around 54%. So clearly that was a huge improvement, and I anticipate that this trend will continue until their commercial segment is bringing in more revenues objectively than their government segment. And management also anticipates that this trend will continue. The company should scale their revenue by around 30% from now until 2025, and right now they are meeting that exact expectation and projection by their management, which is why the long-term picture and thesis for this company is still 100% intact. So if you're not in the PLTR stock right now could be a good time to buy the company if you are a long-term investor. However, if you are not a long-term investor, again, this company probably won't be for you. You may be better off with a company that I'm going to compare them to literally in the next segment. But to me, their long-term growth is still completely intact, and I really like this company for the long term, at least for the next 5 years, because management's projections have been very accurate for what the company plans to achieve over the next half decade. The company's results are going to appear to be lumpy, like I mentioned earlier, for Q2. However, I don't want to base Palantir and my thesis for the PLTR stock based off of one lumpy quarter. I want to see how they are going to perform over the next 5 to 10 years, and then I'm going to make my decision, because if you all know me, you know that I only have around a 4% allocation to the PLTR stock right now, and I don't have any risky single growth stock make up more than 5% of my overall portfolio, because that is just good risk management. Why bet on only one company when I could bet on multiple great companies to grow my overall portfolio in the long term? This also saves me, because if the PLTR stock does not work out over the long term, I still have multiple other companies that are going to more than make up for any losses that we could potentially achieve with Palantir Technologies. But even with that being said, always make sure to do your own research before you buy a company with your own capital. Make sure it aligns with your own investing style, your strategy, and what your overall plan is for your portfolio. This also depends on if it's a dividend portfolio, an aggressive growth portfolio, or a hybrid portfolio. And I personally have a hybrid portfolio, which is why Palantir Technologies is in my growth segment of my hybrid portfolio. But again, I only have around a 4% allocation because it's growing at around a 30% CAGR, or compounding annual growth rate, from now until 2025, which I find very positive. But even though the company is pretty solid, I will not invest more than a 5% allocation, because that would be improper risk management. So now let's compare Palantir Technologies with another company that I also own and that I also absolutely love, which is Salesforce. So you probably know about Palantir Technologies if you watched my videos before, but you may not know about Salesforce, which is technically another big data analytics company, which is in the big data analytics market, because both of these companies are going to analyze and use large amounts of data to leverage their technology so this data can be used to make decisions, which is why some of the biggest players in this market would be Palantir Technologies and Salesforce. Now, I do have my own personal opinions on Snowflake, but that could be another entire video in and of itself. I really like how this Motley Fool article defines Salesforce, so I'm literally just going to quote straight from the article, because they say that Salesforce helps companies track their customers through the world's largest cloud-based customer relationship management platform, also known as a CRM. It also provides additional cloud-based services for marketing, e-commerce, app development, data visualization, and enterprise communications purposes. So which of these stocks is a better all-around play on the growing big data market, end quote, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. Palantir Technologies is a much smaller company than Salesforce, because right now the market cap is only trading at around $18 billion, which is substantially lower than Salesforce's market cap, which currently comes in at around $172.84 billion. So it's somewhat unfair comparing Palantir Technologies, which is a small cap company, to a large cap company such as Salesforce. However, Palantir does have a fantastic goal of becoming the default operating system for the US government, and I hope they can achieve that goal, because that would make this company a large cap company. I also want to point out that Palantir right now is not a profitable company, but they are projected to become profitable sometime at the end of 2025, which to me is something to look forward to, because it's going to act as a fantastic catalyst for their PLTR stock. I also want to say that they are rapidly approaching profitability, because in the year of 2022, their net losses are supposed to narrow to around $296 million, which is a substantial improvement from their net loss of 2020, which came in at around $1.17 billion. Now, most of this was due to their direct listing costs. However, I do think that is a phenomenal improvement. Right now, the PLTR stock trades at around 9 times this year's sales, which would be their PS ratio, their price to sales. And although anything below 10, in my opinion, for a rapidly developing company is not bad, it is still trading at a slight premium. This would mean that Palantir would need to increase their overall sales by 9 just to have a PS ratio of 1. So this is technically not a cheap stock. It is trading at a premium, but if you are willing to hold this company for the long term, they could cut down their price to sales ratio, because they are scaling their revenues so efficiently. Now let's talk about Salesforce, whose stock price has declined around 30% since the beginning of this year, because the overall technology sector has decreased. Their revenues rose in a fiscal year of 2021 by 24%, and they grew another 25% in fiscal year of 2022. The annual revenue for the overall company is set to be around $50 billion by the fiscal year of 2026, which would give them a very competitive price to sales ratio, and they are increasing their revenues at around a 17% CAGR, so almost half that of Palantir Technologies. Now, although Palantir Technologies is scaling their revenues more efficiently, it is harder to scale a larger company due to the law of large numbers. But despite this, Salesforce also has more business segments than Palantir Technologies. Palantir Technologies has 2 main business segments, being their commercial contracts and their government contracts, while Salesforce has 5 core businesses, which revolve around its sales, service, data, marketing, and commerce platform divisions. And all of these core business segments are growing by double-digit numbers. The company has also landed insane acquisitions, like when they acquired MuleSoft in 2018, Tableau in 2019, and Slack in 2021. And unlike Palantir, Salesforce is already profitable. And with analysts anticipating that Salesforce's revenue will increase by around 20% to $31.8 billion for the year of 2022, this could be a phenomenal long-term company to buy. Salesforce's PS ratio is also only 5, which means that they're trading at 5 times this year's sales, which is substantially cheaper than Palantir's PS ratio of 9. So arguably, these are better reasons that make Salesforce a better buying opportunity, considering considering the steep discount that both companies currently offer right now. So from a price to sales ratio and a profitability ratio perspective, Salesforce's CRM stock is a better buy. However, if you want a company that is scaling very rapidly at a 30% CAGR rate, which is almost double Salesforce's revenue increase, then Palantir Technologies is a company that is rapidly growing far faster than Salesforce on a percentage basis. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I personally own both of these companies. However, considering the current stock market environment, I do think that Salesforce is a better buying opportunity right now because it's trading at a lower PS ratio and it's a larger cap company, which comes with blatant safety. However, I will not sell any of my PLTR shares to buy Salesforce. I just have my own position in Salesforce's CRM stock. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Remember to go and smash that like button right now. Comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next YT video.